Okay, so I'm Matthew, and this is why babies should not be genetically modified. I think everyone has a gut feeling that this action of modifying babies through genetics and science is questionable, and there's so much room for error and potential problems or the future is terrifying. One of the main facts is that there is potential discrimination toward those who aren't modified. They wouldn't like all the other kids, and that could create a sort of a social gap. They are a genetic ruling class. And then this would also put many children at the test of being test subjects or science experiments. These first kids that would be put through it could be genetic horrors. They could come out like as an experiment they're being tested on, which is in its own morally wrong. There's also potential unknown side effects that could not only affect the child, but generations to come, leading to new diseases or potential problems that could ruin many generations ahead of us. Recently, there was a study that was taken that showed these genetically modified babies to have an increase in aggressiveness and narcissism, more so than others. And genetic modification has grown a lot recently, which leads to the potential of taking this engineering too far. People's focus will stray from curiosity of curing diseases and fixing rare genetic diseases and focusing on making a perfect baby, on making it something, their creation, something that they would want. This technology is so new and strong that we could make people worse and even sicker than a lot of people already are. It would become it could be seen as a sort of new eugenics. There's sort of a Darwinism to it, and the eugenics of choosing a new baby and a thinning out of others and changing their traits. And again, with the social gap, there could be a possible ruling class on those that are genetically modified. This uniqueness in our children and in us would be lost and forgotten. Evolution in genetics has profoundly impacted who we are and what we have become. The struggles we have, the lower classes and the higher classes and the middle classes, the people way are born, way people are, all these unique traits and all these different ways we grow. This forms a society with gossip and different qualifying traits of different people, instead of everyone being crafted into this one being that is seen as perfect. Another thing that could happen is that the government could be potentially involved. The government would come into play. There would be more complications. There would be more complex issues within politics. There would be so many more problems. And I guess the genes in the human body are extremely complex, and they contain hundreds of different genes. And to take a scalpel to those, especially to specific genes, to make it better or fix it could lead to genetic horrors or even more problems. The human mind and genes are way more complex than any of the plants or other living life we've genetically modified, which would bring many other problems. And I guess that is all. Okay, so this is my rebuttal on the issue, and I saw that a lot of people were stating how having these perfect babies would make a sort of utopia, and how it would make the perfect future, the perfect genetics, you would be able to not avoid diseases and all this stuff, which seems good on paper, but once you try to do this, there's so many more complex problems. There's more diseases that could be formed that we could not cure. There would be more genetic problems in general using this technology and testing and using babies as science experiments. But the amount of wrong, there's a wrong in early life and late life and future generations as well, that would make this perceived perfect future not as good as we see it right now. And also a point that I kind of saw more on is how written on paper, it's so easy to see the genetics in humans being changed so easily, but there's so many different genes and traits, and within, even with your height, there's so many genes within just that to change someone's height within the genetics, and to just put a scalpel on that and change that, and would make it, could potentially harm the person and people's genetics aren't as malleable as we think. The way they would change, the way it would hurt them is more than we could perceive now. And human mind, this is one thing I've heard, the human mind is the most complex thing in the universe that we know of now. And to just go in there and try to change stuff for our opinion of better could result into social and physical, mental and political problems that could be very impactful to us and our society. And I guess that's all for my rebuttal.